Hey guys, I got some Kingdom Wave 2 boys a couple days ago, and I am very excited to talk about them. I got Airazor and I got Ractonite too that I was very much looking forward to, although honestly I'm looking forward to literally every figure in this entire line. So that's not saying too much, but I am really excited to share these two with you because I think they are very cool. We're going to start off with the one that I think most people are going to care about, and that is Airazor. And yes, she is probably, and by probably I mean definitely the best Airazor toy that money can buy. I think she is really great, but I have to be honest and say that Airazor is definitely not a standout character from Beast Wars in my opinion. She, honestly, 90% of the time she was on screen, she was just kind of getting her ass handed to her by the Predacons and didn't really do much, and then she died. I don't even think she made it past season 1. Didn't she die at the very end of season 1? Well, she didn't technically she was merged with Tigatron. It became Tigerhawk, but for all intents and purposes she died. So not the strongest character in a show that's mostly known for its very strong characters, but still a pretty good toy overall. And yeah, I think they really captured the aesthetic of the character pretty well, other than the color. I don't think they got the color right because they went with this very gray, brownish gray color, and in the show she was very clearly like a dark black. But it is what it is. But it's still definitely the best Airazor figure that money can buy. I think she does look really good. Her posability is great. She came with her little missiles right there. Trying to get you guys focused on there. You can see her head sculpt is very nice. She has all of the details. Once again, these little pieces right there are accessories, and they are very nice. And overall, I think she came out very well. You can see her wings on the back here, which you can splay out, which is very nice, and you can have her in some flying poses, which is really great. I have been able to get her in some really great poses. She's got very good head articulation, so she can do some flying poses right there. And yeah, I think overall they did do a very good job making her posable. And yes, overall, I just think this is a very solid Airazor figure. And yes, I just think she's really good. I honestly don't know what else to say. I just think she is really good. The bird mode is great too, and so is the transformation. We'll get into that in just a second, but first, we're going to take a look at Ractonite here, and he is just awesome. I am loving the fossilizers. I do have all of the other ones that have come out so far. I have Paleotrex, which I'll just tell you right now, I like Ractonite way more than Paleotrex. I don't hate Paleotrex or anything. And I have Vertebrake, who is actually my favorite of all three of them. So, but Ractonite is definitely my second favorite. He is really cool. I actually really like him. His design is just very cool, and I am all in on the fossilizers. These are gonna make such a cool team when we get more of these, and they are so fun to combine. I have had so much fun combining these guys together. That's honestly probably the best part, is actually combining them together and seeing all the combinations you can come up with. It's really freaking cool. But yeah, Ractonite is super cool. He has all of the features that Paleotrex had. He has that bony design and the weaponizer aesthetic, and he does have that flip up and down battle mask, which is super cool. And honestly, just like Paleotrex, I honestly think that it looks really good either way, because if you have it down, it kind of looks more like a knight, like he has his helmet down or like a visor down or something right there. I just think that is super cool. And the same thing on Paleotrex here. He had that very it kind of reminds me of Deoxys from Pokemon. I just think that head sculpt is really Deoxys-like, but then you could flip down the mask and have that design going on. You can kind of do the same thing with him, which I think is super cool. And if that is a gimmick that is carried on through this entire line, I will definitely be all in for that, because that is a really cool and fun gimmick. But yeah, overall, I think he is super cool. One thing I gotta talk about, his hand right here. This is hilarious. So his hand is a peg right there, and let me show you something. Well, I wanted to show you something on the box, but apparently I threw the box away, forgetting that I wanted to show this to you guys in the video. But look up pictures of the box and look at what they've done, and look at what this hand looks like in those pictures. It is the most well-detailed blaster cannon arm that you've ever seen in your life. It's so well painted and shit. And then on the figure itself, he literally just has a peg for a hand, and it's so clearly just a peg for a hand. I'm not saying it's lazy or anything. I mean, well, it is kind of lazy, but it just kind of, I find it kind of hilarious, honestly. If you just look at the picture that look at the promo artwork for the box, and you can see how well detailed it is, that they clearly want you to think it's a freaking blaster. And then on the toy itself, he literally just has a peg for a freaking hand. As far as disassembling and weaponizing go, there is a lot of it with Ractonite here. These pieces come off, the arm pieces come off right there. The little drill segment comes off. The legs that come off, the whole waist assembly, and the legs in general also come off. I think he might take apart even more than Paleo Trek's. This piece comes off. Well, actually, now that I think about it, maybe not. But this piece comes off right here, and then the horns actually all come off as well. I believe this one does as well. Yes, it does. All of the horns can come off, and this piece can also come off. And I believe that is it. This piece is all one big piece, but they do have a hinge right here, so you can make use of that for combinations and weaponizing and whatnot. And when it comes to that, you just gotta let your imagination run wild. Let your imagination take over and create a whole bunch of cool stuff. I have made some pretty cool stuff with the fossilizers, and one of these days I'll make a video on them and we'll show off some really cool stuff. But I really do like what they're doing with these fossilizers. I think these are probably my favorite of the like break apart ones. You know, there was the weaponizers in Siege, and then in Earthrise there was the modulators, which I don't even have any of those. I really should get one. And then we have fossilizers, and I'm definitely thinking that fossilizers are going to end up being my favorite because they just make a really cool team having multiples of them. I just think they look really good together. And yeah, I just think it's really, really nice. One thing also that they show on the box is instead of having it the way where you have it, you have this piece on, you have the arm coming out of there, they actually show you on the box that you're supposed to have this peg from the mouth that goes all the way through the jaw. If I could get it out, usually I had to like use a piece to get it through there. Come on, bastard. Come on. Jesus, man. I can't get it through. There we go. And this is what they show on the box, but I just don't think this looks nearly as cool. Is you're supposed to plug that into there, and then you're supposed to plug the actual arm into this peg, and you're supposed to have that going on. I mean, it doesn't look bad by any means, but I don't want that piece showing right there. And now it's a freaking commercial. Great. But yeah, I don't want, I think that just looks a lot better when you actually like rotate it this way and you put the arm on. I just think that looks a whole lot better, and I really, really, really like that. But yeah, overall, I think Ractonite is really, really cool. I think we should get down to transformation now, and obviously we're going to start with Airazor once again, and her transformation is quite involved and very, very fun and very well done. I think they did a really good job with this transformation. So the tail feather piece, you lift it up back here. You want to come to these sections here. You obviously want to take off the missiles, the little forearm rockets right there, and just set those off to the side. But they do store in the bird mode very, very, very nicely. And let's see, what do we want to do next? This transformation is a little bit complicated, but it is really, really fun overall. I think we're going to do the torso next. So this piece right here, you want to get that disconnected, and then you want to take this entire torso piece and you want to actually pull it out, and it's on a double hinge joint. As you can see right there, it's on a double hinge joint, and you want to bring it up, and you don't want to completely go all the way up because you want to have clearance to flip in the head, and you're basically just going to exchange the robot head for the hawk head right there, which is very, very cool. And then you want to finish bringing out the double hinge joint on that assembly right there and make sure that the hawk head is about right there so that you can take this piece and you can plug it in. So you see this back piece, it plugs into those slots in robot mode, and then in hawk mode, it plugs into the bottom slots, as you can see right there. So you plug that in, and boom, there you go. You have that seamless connection, and I think that's really, really, really nice. The next thing you want to do, honestly, this transformation isn't actually all that complex. It's just a little, it'll just take a little bit to get used to, kind of like, just like Black Arachnia's transformation. Black Arachnia's transformation, I really hated at first because I didn't get the hang of it, but once you get the hang of it, this transformation is brilliant and pretty much flawless, and I think Airazor is probably about the same way. So yeah, you want to rotate the arms this way so you have those peg holes exposed, and then you see her hands here. Her hands are supposed to fold in. I'm sorry if you can't see, she's a tiny little figure. So you want her hands to be like that, and then when you bring them down, there is a crevice right there in that segment, and you can see that even a little slot there, and that little that little piece right there from the arm is going to, I don't know if you can see it right there. See right there, that piece like jutting out, that's gonna go into that little slot. So you wanna bring that down, and then it will lock in place right there. Well, not literally lock, it'll just kind of softly tab in place. So you want to have that going on. And once again, I just think this is really well done, really well engineered. Just like Black Arachnia, they do kind of softly tab together, but it does the job, and it doesn't really, yeah, it's overall really solid. You want to make sure you have clearance for the tail feather so you can rotate the entire waist assembly like this. And then you want to take the legs and you want to flip them around just like that. And then you want to bring them up. You want to, these little hinges right here, you want to bring them down. And I believe you want to rotate them this way. So you have those feet looking that way. So you want to have that. And then you want to bring them up just like that. So you have that going on, and then the final step is you want to take the legs and you want to rotate them up, and you can see a tab right there, and that's going to go into that slot right there, and it literally just goes in there really easily. Not really any headache whatsoever, but there is going to be one segment that's going to give us a little bit of a well, I wouldn't say a headache, just a tiny little inconvenience. But once again, get that plugged in right there, and there you pretty much have the bird mode. But one more thing you got to do is you got to come back here to the tail feather, and getting this piece re-tabbed in is a little bit tricky, but honestly, it's kind of like Optimus Primal with that back piece in the monkey mode. You just got to kind of push it until it gets in there. And I don't think it's really going to be a breaking problem. I don't see any stress marks or anything like that. Just like with Optimus Primal, I just think it's a matter of you just gotta force it in there. You just gotta get it in there. And when you do that, you have this almost perfect bird mode. Like, this is really solid. Obviously, there is some robot kibble underneath there, but it doesn't even really look that bad, honestly. I just think they really knocked it out of the park with AirRaiser overall. If she was more cartoon accurate, like with the colors, if they had given her the dark black that she was in the show, this would have been a perfect toy in my opinion. But yeah, I still think she's probably worthy of about a 9 out of 10. She's really good. She's even got some head articulation in bird mode, and you can, of course, utilize all the articulation from robot mode with the wings in bird mode and get some really cool, like, perched poses. Like, this is just a really good toy. I really love AirRaiser. So yeah, overall, I think AirRaiser is super solid. I think I'm gonna give her, I'm gonna go with that 9 out of 10. I think she definitely deserves that. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I think she's a 10 out of 10 because I can disregard the inaccurate colors, but I mean, I really do think they knocked it out of the park with her. I think she's really good. And her joints are all really good. Nothing makes me happier than getting a new Transformer and seeing that the joints are all tight and nice and stiff. And yeah, just an overall wonderful figure, and I'm happily will add her to my collection. Really love it. Now let's jump into Ractonite. Now, of course, he is a fossilizer, so to transform him, we do have to remove all of his pieces, but not every single piece. We just have to remove most of them. We don't have to take off everything. We don't have to take off these back pieces or the claw here, and we can, of course, plug all this back into place. Where is that other one at? I totally didn't lose this in one. I totally wasn't looking for it for 5 minutes straight off camera. But obviously, none of these pieces have to come off for the transformation. So we remove the head, the arms, we remove the drill and the other arm. We remove the waist assembly, and you don't have to take off the legs. You just remove the waist assembly. Pull this piece off right here. And then you want to flip down his mask and rotate his head around just like that. This transformation is honestly super easy. Well, transformation, this parts formation, is that what we call it? I hope that's not what we call it, because that's a really bad name. Take this back piece here, put the drill on this tab right there. That's going to be the tail. Take the waist, and it's going to plug right into there. Very self-explanatory, just plugs right into there. We're going to take the torso piece and we're going to plug the head into there. Very self-explanatory once again. Plug that in there just like that. We'll bring in the waist, plug that in there just like that into that slot. Bring in the legs and plug them into these two tabs, these two pegs up top here, and plug those in right there. Make sure you get them on the right way so the hollowness is facing inward so you don't see it as easily. Plug all that in, pull down these pegs right there, and then you want to bring them down. You want to bring them back like this, and then on that double joint, you want to bring them forward. It's on a bit of a ratchet right there, and you want to do the same thing on the other side, just like that, and of course, just kind of balance it out with the back legs, just like that, and there you have Ractonite in his fossilized Triceratops mode. And I think it looks really cool. I think it looks very, very cool overall. I really, really, really like Ractonite here. I think, once again, I think he's my second favorite. And by I think, I mean he's my second favorite of the fossilizers. He's really cool. He's not as good as Vertebrake. Obviously, I'm always going to prefer things that don't parts form over things that parts form because parts forming sucks. But this is still a really, really, really great toy. I really, really do like Ractonite. And do I really have to transform this guy to compare him with? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't really like transforming that one. I do like Paleotrex overall. And the transformation is not bad or anything. It's just plugging these pieces into there, not the most fun thing ever. But yeah, I think he is really cool. He doesn't really have any bad segments of the transformation. I just think he's very solid overall. And before I forget, one thing I realized I did kind of forget with AirRaiser is you can, of course, store her little feather rockets. You can store them on the bird mode. They plug in right there into the legs, so you can plug them in right there, and that will give you her storage right there, so you can have those stored. And yeah, I mean, once again, to reiterate, I think this toy is basically perfect. I think this is pretty much the best AirRaiser toy we're ever gonna get. But yeah, Ractonite overall, I think, is really solid. And there you go. There you have both AirRaiser and Ractonite, my first two, Wave 2 of Kingdom. Obviously, off to a really, really, really great start. Wave 1 was like one of the strongest waves of Transformers I've ever seen in my life. That wave was literally like 6 S-tier figures. So, I have nothing but hope for this. I have nothing but hope for this line. Definitely no despair. I love Danganronpa. Yeah, no despair. All hope for this line. This is gonna be a great fucking line. I can tell you right now, the War for Cybertron trilogy is probably gonna go down in history as the best Transformers toy line ever. Because, like, if you collected this whole line, you literally have a perfect G1 collection and a perfect Beast Wars collection. Well, maybe not a perfect Beast Wars collection. They're not giving us a lot of characters, but we did just kind of hear rumors that they're giving us a Pterosaur, and that's very exciting. I really hope it's not just a retool of AirRaiser, although I think that might work fine. Honestly, yeah, that might work fine, but honestly, the fact that they're giving us a Terroraiser and what's his name, Pterosaur at all, that's awesome, because he was honestly one of my favorite characters from Season 1. So yeah, overall, another 2 really, really, really knockout figures from Hasbro. Pretty much expected at this point, but yeah, they're great. Get them, add them to your collection. Really, really, really like them.